So I did a spread. I'm locked in. Then the tornado drill goes off, knocks my motherfucking tower down, right? But I come upstairs, I sit in the cooler room. I just lay here for a second. And then it kind of hits me. I'm scrolling through. I see the parade they did with the Orishas. And then they show one sitting, and I read the name. And I'm like, oh yeah, he was sitting like that in my dream. And then I went to research it again because memory. I went to go research it again while I was thinking about the mothers and going to Brazil for New Year's because that's when they do the Yemaya celebrations in Brazil, is on New Year's. So as I'm like going back, I'm like, oh yeah, St. Francis of Assisi, the connection. So then I'm like, okay, let me go to some drum music. Let me go to some music. So I go to the music. Yes, 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 yes. So basically, in this dream that I had, I was sitting and talking to someone that looked like they were sitting on the throne, and they had on this exact same colors, the exact same like theme as the float. So the name kind of threw me off because the colors. It was the colors that threw me off, which made me because I was smoking, and then the whole tornado drill just threw my vibe off, really. And I was thinking about that, like how they did in Stranger Things. They used the signal or frequency to throw the special ones off, to turn their powers off, like to regulate it or control it, basically. So that came to mind on my way up here, to sit down for a second and just regroup and just feel what's going on around you or whatever, calm the anxiety down. So then I saw the float and everything and did the song search again. And then it came back to me that about the dream, I was talking to him about a man, or how men are, and how dismissive of me that they are. And I'm like, you see what I mean? And he just said, mm-hmm. And I'm like, so are you going to do something about it? Like, that's basically my dream. Like, so what we going to do? What we going to do? And as I'm thinking about, situations in particular, again, the sun is getting brighter outside. So I'm like, okay. 16 is my number as well. So it's like I'm remembering this part. I'm remembering again because I've already had this like kind of experience, but it's like I'm having the experience again, so pay attention. But it was like a story about how mother went from west to east, and then when her children was coming back, she didn't want them to go, so she was trying to show things like hurricanes, is the explanation of that, like that story or whatever. But because that does happen physically with the earth, it's still someone. And that's how we kind of, it led me to the whole thing about Oya and Yemaya's story about their exchanges, because it's like that's when the energy became that. Like it shifted. Like there was another dimension of reality that was just being experienced again. But tapping back into that energy was also like being with another person, like the Lover's card was coming up, with making decisions. Uranus and Pluto being an air sign, the air and the fire energy are going to be the most fixed, and the water and the earth is going to be looser. They're going to be free too. So grounded transportation is going to be extremely important. It's not going to be so much air traffic going on anymore. We're going to have to get inventive and learn how to, Moana, sail across waters again. It's going to be like normal or comfortable now for everyone to get on a cruise and go somewhere. It's going to be like, as often as we used to fly, is going to be as often people get on boats. It's not going to be so scary anymore. The technology is going to be, more upscale, but that also comes with, the, animal kingdom that belongs to the water as well. But the water spirits that are living beings here, and connected with that energy, tuned into that frequency, are going to show themselves a lot more. But yeah, and I was getting a lot more earthquakes will be happening a little bit more frequently. But it's going to be like smaller spots of, tornadoes, and tornadoes doing a lot of damage, but earthquakes not. It's like, if we're going to start, it's going to be like second nature, like how we have rainstorms and stuff like that. Those might come, like, get up a little bit, like the technology and how we build homes and being underground is going to be normal again. Okay, so, and that's why water is going to be a hot commodity, or anything really having to do with liquidity is going to be extremely important. So that's why you should continue. It's suggesting that maybe you should 555 continue with holding space for like Bitcoin and other things like that, because in the future is definitely giving, like, I'm seeing in my head like Bugs Bunny and them when they're on the train going through the desert, like real fast. Like, a lot of that technology is going to be available from the highest point of the Americas to the lowest, and it's just going to spread out from there. Yeah, so that's kind of like the download I was getting today.